What's up all my flurries out there? It's the Stormcraft, bringing you another video. But today, we're doing a time-lapse video. Now before I begin, I'm going to show a video of myself. Hi, this is me. This is what I look like. Hello. So, anyways, before we start off, I'd like to give a huge apology to all my fans out there. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I haven't been recording videos. There's a reason for it. There's always a reason for this. The biggest reason is that I cannot get recording because I have school, and I actually have a project to do for this. Now, we'll get into the time-lapse in a minute, but I'd like to explain what I've been doing while I've been away from YouTube. So, what I've been doing is that I've been doing school. Now, I've been doing advanced physics and other things, and the project I'm about to show you is actually for my advanced physics class. To give you a rundown of what I'm supposed to do before we get into the timelines and I explain the guts of what I'm doing, is that we're supposed to do a lander experiment. The way this experiment works is we're supposed to build our own planetary lander. Now, you might be thinking that this project's going to be huge and we're actually going to ride in this. No, we're doing small scale, a maximum of a 2-liter cubic volume. So, if I was to give you a size, it'd be maximum of yay big max? Nah, and not really big. So it's small scale. And what we're doing is, what we have to do is that we have to take an egg, which is supposed to represent our sensitive equipment on this lander, and we're supposed to make sure that the egg lands on the ground safely and unharmed, not even a crack. That is the ideal goal of this experiment. Now, it can crack, and that's okay too. The experiment is okay if you succeed or fail. You have to explain why on either point. So if you succeed, great. If you fail, well, whatever. So, now let's move on to the time-lapse. Off with the styrofoam cup, at which point I collected 6 of these toothpicks made of wood, a standard toothpick, and then I began putting them inside of the lander at 6 in even intervals. Once I was done, I began the next step. Well, first off, I forgot that I'd forgotten one, and then I began the next step after I put that in. So, after I finished putting in all the stuff for the lander, I then began adding the duct tape, which was literally for the air brakes, which is why we put it in there. And at that point, I actually cut an inappropriate length. So we stick it onto there, putting the sticky side facing the top of the lander, and folding it over the toothpicks. You do this for every 2, and keep folding and putting it on there. As you continue, make sure that you fold it, and make sure that the toothpicks are nicely situated. If they're not situated, you can put some sort of filling in there, or you can glue them in. I went with the filling option, but this is not shown in this step. So, after I finish the last one, we begin the next step, which I actually had to go grab because I needed to get an egg. Oh wait. Yeah, I went to go grab the egg. So, you go grab the egg. That's the next part of the step. Now, you can skip this bit because it took me a bit of time to go grab the egg. Once you do have the egg, however, it will begin in the next step, which I'll explain a bit of what this step is and what you're going to be doing. So, here I am with the egg. The egg, you then measure the dimensions of the egg, which is not shown here. Once you're done measuring the dimensions of the egg, you then begin to carve out the egg. Not carve the egg. Excuse me, you begin to carve out the lander. When you're done carving out the lander in the dimensions of the egg, you can move on to the next step. And what this allows you to do is that the reason why you want to situate the egg inside is because the egg is the core of your lander. It is supposed to represent the sensitive equipment that's normally on top or underneath your lander. So, I'm using toothpicks to help mark out where the lander is. Now, you can use a permanent marker, you can use whatever method you deem fit. Now, of course, I keep adjusting this every now and again to help me situate it in there. Once you're done doing this, however, you then carve it out with a knife like you see me doing here. As I'm carving with the knife, I am trying to be careful not to damage the egg, because the egg has to be completely unscathed inside of this experiment. Now then, you continue carving and carving like I'm doing. I pull out toothpicks and everything else. Well, first I start drawing with a pen to help mark it out because I was having trouble cutting. Well, it wasn't exactly the brightest idea. Anyways, you continue by either marking or carving, whichever one works better for you. For me, I decided to do it that way because it was much easier just to carve out after you have it. Now, using the knife I did not work as well as it should. It did not make a good cut. So if you have something like a box cutter, that would work way better, and you can situate the egg inside. Of course, it did not situate well the first time, so I had to carve out more and much more material than I thought would have been needed when I drew it on the first time. But after you're done, you should find a lot of situation. Now, this part is a little bit more touchy-feely, like you'll know what you need when you're done with it. So just keep carving and carving until the egg slides nicely in. You want only a third of the egg completely covered by the lander. That third of the egg will be the underside, which will be held together with tape to help hold it in place. That way the egg doesn't jostle around when it collides with the ground, because otherwise your egg could be a scrambled egg. Or, worse yet, and this is the point of failure for your lander, the egg cracks. So, once you're done, your egg should be in place. Now then, of course, it's always good to clean up your work area before you begin the next step. Now, the next step that you do after this is taping your egg. You want your egg nice and in place when you're done. When you're done with this, you just tape in the egg and hold it in place. Now, you need one layer of tape on the underside of the egg. One layer meaning enough tape that it holds in place. So I did a cross tape to hold it in. And then you can do another layer of tape on the outside of the egg to help give it that added cushioning and to hold it in place in another angle. Because it wouldn't just work to just tape it from the bottom end, because if I just did the bottom and the adhesive came off, the egg would go flying in the direction. So you want to do both ends. Once you have both ends done, then you begin taping the top section. Now this one is a little bit tricky. You have to do a sort of curve shape with tape, and tape doesn't do curving very well. Well, it honestly depends upon the type of tape you use. So if it works, don't fix it. But yeah, you just tape it around however many times until you get a good seal on the egg. Once you're done with that step, once you're done sealing up the egg, then you move on to the next step. And the next step is carving up the holes for your lander rope, which we will begin as soon as I finish taping here. Because, you know, I'm slow and I like to do my work methodically. So, we're done. Egg's nice and situated. Good. Now then, you poke out the holes for whatever rope or whatever string you're using to help hold the lander in place. All in all, your lander, if you follow these blueprints exactly, should only weigh a maximum of 87 grams. So at this point, you could use a small thread, like sewing thread, and you'd be fine. But I would honestly recommend a more sturdier rope to hold the lander in place, especially on this, because the more surface area you have to hold it in place, the better. So that way the lander doesn't move around too much while it's attached to your parachute. Now then, after you're done poking out the holes, you then add your rope. You thread it through one hole and out the other. Now, for this, I used one of those packing wires that you see around here. Now, this is purely a demo of how you're supposed to build it. So the packing wire is supposed to represent a string of rope. So after you're done, you just tie a knot. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure that you can lift the lander by it and apply a decent amount of force. Afterwards, you're done with the lander. And at which point, you should end up with the lander looking like this. You should have your parachute, which is made of whatever material you choose. It is attached on its four corners, or four edges, by a toothpick, or whatever you want to hold the strings by, and then taped up with duct tape. It's really light. I'm giving you a nice size comparison between the lander, like the size of the main lander, versus the size of a 1 liter bottle. This is the size comparison you must have. Now then, I've already checked to make sure that the bottle is 1 liter. Here, and you can see for yourself the size of the lander. Now then, you cannot count the additives that are used to slow it down, as those additives are only used to help slow down the lander. Also, an optional feature is to put in some form of stuffing inside of the lander. In this case, I use bubble wrap, and it helps add cushioning. Also, you can choose whatever material you like. I used a trash bag here, and used a special kind of high durability string. Basically just sewing thread. It's very sturdy and it's very good for stitches and stuff, and it can hold more than 500 grams of weight, so it's perfect for this. At the end, you should have a lander that looks something similar to this. And of course, my original design was to use normal parachutes that you normally see. Of course, I couldn't get them perfectly circular, so I doubt that would have worked. And I would have used 3 rather than those circles, but I didn't have enough surface area or enough time to actually try the idea. A little bit later, maybe afterwards, I'll try it again and, do that. But yes, so, yeah. Anyways, so let me put these back. And now, to give you an idea, this should be all for the ideas. Actually, bye. Using bottle in the middle of the rain. This is going to be brilliant. So, Geronimo landed pretty safely. All right. Test launch successful at 100 grams at 3 meters per second. There we go. Stormcraft here. Sorry about the bad lighting, but I had to make transitions because my room is recording room actually. It's actually going under, people are in there, so I don't want to disturb them, that sort of thing. So, before we get into the next segment, which is the main launch, I wanted to tell you that as soon as I finished, I made a couple adjustments to the launcher. And I'm recording this after I've already done the launch, so everything's already done, but I forgot this audio bit, so that's also why the lighting's bad, because it's in the middle of the night. So there's a big time gap, but you know, what can you do? Anyways, so yeah, I'll see you in the next clip. Boing!
How did it? I guess that counts as perfectly safe, huh? Jeez. So pretty.
Check. The egg intact?
The egg is indeed intact.
That's what it did last time. Yeah, it did.
And it survived. Woot.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Glad you guys enjoy it. If you're wondering, yeah, I changed my shirt. Bit of an accident with a bird, you know. Things happen. lots of seagulls, everything happens. Anyways, so thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for watching this, and as a bit of a thank you to you guys, I'm going to put a little bit of extra at the end of this video clip, so we'll see that in a moment. You'll get to see something very cute, very adorable, so don't worry. For all you lady fans out there, yeah, I got you. Anyways, so yeah, I hope you liked everything that was in the video. This is kind of my first time doing video editing, so things are going to be crap. Sorry for the lack of expression as well. Can't do anything about that, you know, autism. Yeah. Anyways, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and well, you know, goodbye. Bye.